Welcome to the SwineTime Podcast here at Pipestone. I'm your host, Spencer Wayne. I'm one of the practicing veterinarians here on staff, and they let me do this one fun thing every couple times a month, I suppose. I record a podcast with folks that have things to offer that are interesting to our listeners. And today, I've got one of my partners here, Joseph Yaros, one of our other practicing vets who has a new role, and he can talk a little bit about that. But we are going to cover the topic of how to handle the heat that we are currently experiencing this summer, and any summer, but just managing heat. So I will stop rambling and I'll let Joseph introduce himself. Joseph, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? You've been on this podcast before, but who are you, what do you do, and anything you want to share?
Spencer, thank you for the opportunity for the second visit on this podcast. Last time we were talking about assessing pigs and when they are not feeling good, and today we're going to talk about beating the heat. So been with Pipestone as a practicing veterinarian for about 10 years, and recently took on a new role of the director of the FarmPro Team, which essentially would be the grow finish side of Pipestone's business. And we have focused very heavily over the last couple months with the team on ensuring ventilation and all the infrastructure in the sites is as good as it can be, so we can, in fact, beat this heat together.
Mm-hmm. So personality-wise, Joseph and I are probably opposites in many ways. I will say, well, that could be this and that. Joseph is a black and white protocol guy, and so I think you are well suited for the topic and your current role with Farm Team. So, or FarmPro, I mean.
Thank you, Spencer.
One story to share about Joseph, and I told him I was going to share a story, but I didn't tell him which one. Joseph had just started here I think it was your first few months of practicing, and Ron and Rick Grommers are some shareholders. I hope it isn't a problem to call out them. They might enjoy the story. And I saw them at a meeting. One of the brothers said, "Hey, we had your vet come out and say, yeah, is the foreign guy. He was the guy, the foreign guy from a different country." I said, "What are you, foreign guy? What foreign vet do we have?" And then he said, "Rick, come over here." And so Rick said, which one of the foreign vets came out? I said, "Yaros." And I said, "He's not foreign. He's just from New York." So sorry for picking on those two guys, but I just remember thinking, who's our foreign vet? And it turns out it was Joseph Yaros, who's from New York.
I provide the diversity for the team of being the tall guy from the East Coast instead of the tall guy from the Midwest.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
So anyway, Joseph's been here a long time and adds a ton to our group in many ways. The topic, let's go hit it. What do you always have acronyms. Do you want to have any acronyms today? Do you want to just cover them topically, or how do you?
Let's see. Last time I was here, we had that Santa acronym, and I forget exactly what that stood for, but I'm pretty sure it was Spencer always is notably the authority, or I forget. Is it Spencer's answers naturally trump all? I forget which one of those was more accurate.
I remember being Satan, not Santa, but I don't think it was that acronym. I think it was good. I don't remember. It's a long time ago now. New acronym today.
Today, if we're going the acronym route, we're gonna discuss summer.
S for summer.
S for S.
Okay.
Is the starting letter of summer? Yes.
Yes. Do you want to?
So when it comes to summer, S is going to stand for stir fans.
Okay, stir fans. All right.
And stir fans are important because when it comes to beating the heat, there's certain types of infrastructure you have in every barn. A lot of, not all, but most curtain facilities are going to have stir fans either in a racetrack pattern or going to be blowing across in a north-south type manner. And stir fans, when set correctly, can really help keep your barn at the right temperature for a prolonged period of time. And a lot of people have these stir fans not necessarily working like I think they probably should or set correctly. A lot of folks will have them set 20 degrees above set point and just kind of turn on when they're not really making an impact. And if we think about what is the target of having stir fans, it's to keep these pigs at the desired room temperature as long as possible. So instead of turning them on well after the curtain drops, I would personally modify your settings so those stir fans are going to turn on about 2 degrees after your curtain starts to drop. That way, that air starts to come in the barn. Mm-hmm. The stir fans will help pull that air and circulate across the pigs and keep them at that desired cooler temperature as long as possible.
Okay, so specifically, you're describing a curtain-sided finishing barn. Starts to
correct.
drop. Because we see surf fans all the time in gestation barns in a sow farm, which is not curtain-sided typically. But curtain-sided finishers oftentimes have stir fans. They're on whatever configuration. The one thing about curtain-sided barns is if they drop and there's no air moving, if there's no wind, they'll drop all the way, and then you're stuck with a barn that accumulates heat.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the stir fan's job is to move that heat through if it's a linear fashion, or at least just get it stirred up so it's not so stale.
Agreed.
Okay, go ahead. Next.
Next for you, we have update controllers. Okay. And I would describe this as a critical component of beating the heat, because a lot of folks will just say, my controller's set okay, I don't need to change it from one season to the next. But when you have your controller set up for winter compared to summer, you got to change those bandwidths, you got to change those fan settings, you got to have those big fans turn on sooner rather than later. We want to get these pigs cooler. Yeah,
you mentioned something, Joseph, DRT versus set point. They are different things.
Which acronym are we talking about here, Spencer? Are we going summer?
Yeah.
Or are we going DRT? Which one?
DRT is this is like Inception. It's an acronym within an acronym.
Mm-hmm.
Could be.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So DRT, desired room temp, versus.
Speaking of which, have you seen the Odyssey yet?
No. Why? What is that? Why? What does it have to do
Christopher
with
Nolan made Inception, and then he made
right.
the Odyssey, and it's a discussion point at the moment.
Yeah, it is. I haven't seen it. I'd watch it it looks entertaining. I got some concerns, like, what a weird movie. Like, why didn't they just do a basic job on this? Anyway, different topic. DRT, Christopher Nolan, desired room temp.
Desired room temperature is a concept that might be new to some, because when we often talk about what temperature settings in a barn should be at, we base it off of a set point. Mm-hmm. But pigs, just like all species, based on their age, have a temperature that is going to be optimal for their growth. Mm-hmm. And as they get older, that optimal temperature is reduced, meaning that market pig is going to grow at a much faster rate when it's going to be cool in that facility rather than a 20-pound pig. They need things to be much warmer. So this temperature, the desired room temperature, the DRT, is usually going to be lower than whatever the set point is, because the set point is truly determining when the fans and the different pieces of infrastructure in the barn are going to be working and functional. But we actually have a goal of having the pigs be at the desired room temperature as long as possible. Meaning,
go ahead,
that if we want the pigs to be at desired room temperature of market pigs, maybe at 58 to 60 degrees, it's going to be really difficult for us to get there in the summer. But if we can keep pigs at that lower temperature as long as possible in a 24-hour period, they're going to be more interested in going to the feeders, more interested in getting water, and overall more interested in growing and allowing us to capitalize on more pounds in the summer months.
Yeah. A couple points that I think, you tell me if I'm wrong on this. Set point is a mechanical setting on your controller that drives fan on-off points or heater points. DRT is a theoretical number.
Yes.
That you're always trying to hit. So it's not like there's a DRT setting in your controllers.
That is correct.
The DRT is what you want to be at. So to that point, you just mentioned a pretty cool temperature. Pigs want to grow at a much cooler temp than they were able to achieve, but the fans come on in stages. So I've got some cases at 12 degree top to bottom from set point to last fan kicking on. The room is getting really hot before the last fan kicks on. Mm-hmm. You may want to, I'm guessing, tighten up your bandwidths a lot, manually just turn fans on. In some cases, just if you're never even coming down to set point, just get the air moving, because you're allowing the room to be much hotter than it has to be, because all the fans aren't even on. Like, for what? Why were you waiting? Mm-hmm. There's a reason you stage your fans up and down, but in this extreme weather, just get the fans on, in my mind.
To bring it back to our original acronym, we need to update the controller.
Mm-hmm. Update. It's a safe thing to do in the summer is to tighten up your bandwidths. That'd
exactly.
be a common thing.
Exactly.
Okay, other controller updates. I know one of your points, I didn't look it over, there's misters, but in the controller, you'd have the settings for your misters, mm-hmm. your fans, and your heaters. So those are the three things that get mm-hmm. set, and curtains.
So then the first M for summer is going to be misters. Want to make sure those misters are set correctly and functional. A lot of different components to think about misters. One, when should you turn them on? My statement is you're going to have those misters turn on at 18 degrees above set point. Second, how long do you have them run? 3 minutes on, 20 minutes off. And then what are the misters that you should use? There's misters themselves, and then there's spinners. Generally, I think it's accepted that misters are going to do a better job covering pigs in a wider area. And then last component, what age or what weight should you start these at? 100 pounds and above. If pigs are 50 pounds, I'd leave them off. But if they're 100 pounds, time to turn them on.
How did you, the 18 over set point, I can see why it would work. How did you come up with that versus a straight temp A when it gets above 80 or 85? Mm-hmm. Why 18 over?
Just because pigs of different ages have different set points that the controller is going to be set at, and this way you can base it all off of that. And most of the controllers are established with the misters to turn on at a certain number of temperature points above the set point.
So in actual functioning, a fat hog that's getting close to the end of the growing phase is set point, let's say 65 or something. 65 plus 18, so whatever, 78. No,
80,
sorry.
83.
83 degrees, that'd be the kick-on point there. Mm-hmm. Is there a minimum temp that you would want to run it? Or, yeah, how cool would you say don't run it? It's cooler than that. You said 18 over, but is there a number you'd say, don't run it below 80 degrees or 75 degrees? When should you say don't run it?
Yeah, it would be pretty abnormal to have a set point in any barn to be below 60 degrees Fahrenheit. So in that case, you'd be at 78 to 80 degrees.
You're always safe.
You're almost generally always
you're close to 80.
Exactly, yeah. You're generally always going to be safe.
So 18 over, good rule of thumb,
Mm-hmm.
18 over set point, 100 pounds.
Run for 3 minutes.
This came up, this 3 on, 20 off. Recently, I worked with a person down in Nebraska who, over the weekend, when she wasn't there, in farrowing, they set they basically turned the misters on. In farrowing, they had drippers or some kind of mister, and they left them on full time, and it caused a lot of problems. Mm. And so the question is, why is that a problem? Why wouldn't you just run it full time? Why would you have it 3 on, 20 off? Mm. Because it did cause some serious problems, and I can think of why, but what's happening there?
Evaporative cooling is the main goal that we're trying to accomplish with these misters. We want to get the pigs wet, have air move over them with the air coming out of the inlets or through the curtain or whatnot, through the tunnel, and we then want those pigs to get fully dry. We want pigs to get wet, dry, wet, dry, wet, dry, just back and forth. And if you have those misters run for too long and those pigs get too wet and mm-hmm. don't have the ability to have the evaporative cooling where they're actually drying off, you're just going to create a humid swamp-like environment, and you're probably going to waste more water, and overall you're going to make things worse rather than better. Yeah.
I'm just imagining a sauna, because if you get them wet for 3 minutes, 20 minutes to dry, whatever humidity you've created is exhausted. So the average humidity in the room is maintained, at least mm-hmm. lower. But if you're soaking and it's hot, it becomes Vietnam.
Oh,
it's a total swamp. And then the heat's there with the inability to get rid of it. Mm-hmm. And then you get dead animals. Mm-hmm. Here's another example of that. There was a wean pig trailer in the summer being loaded out. It was a long time ago on a farm you were the vet for after I was the vet for. And the guy said, well, I'll do some good here. And the guy ran a garden hose in a wean pig trailer on a hot summer day. And there wasn't a lot of ventilation there, and he thought he'd be cooling them down. And he did, maybe just temporarily, but he ran so much water in there, the whole nose of the trailer, the pigs did not make it. They died because it created a massive sauna environment inside. So the ability to have water that can evaporate must be a key thing here.
Too much of a good thing, for sure.
So don't create a sauna, allow it to evaporate. And if it's drier, it would be more effective. You can probably wet more often. If it's more humid, you got to wait longer.
That is key. And although I have not been in the facilities where this has been proven, there are a number of folks that have, I'm going to say like 1,000 head curtain barns in a row, which allows people to do some different replications of trials of when to turn misters on and off. And if we are to follow these descriptions that you and I are discussing right now, the results would be an improvement in average daily gain in the finishers by 0.05 to 0.1. Essentially, what does that mean in true pounds? If pigs are going to be in the finisher for over 100 days, and you would just say 100 for easy math, that's 5 to 10 pounds live weight that you'll be able to capture if you run your misters well compared to running them poorly or not running them at all.
Okay. And the whole thing is you've cooled the pig down so they feel better and eat.
Because we've been able to be at that desired room temperature for a longer period of time in the day.
Okay.
When pigs are cooler in this experience, they're going to be going to the feeder, they're going to be consuming feed, they're going to be growing at a faster rate.
Okay. All right, next M.
Next M, move air.
All right.
Got to get that air moving through those fans and through the inlets onto those pigs. So the key thing I would say here is when it comes to updating those controllers so that the fans are going to kick on at the right time points, we also want to make sure that all the fans are working. It's always a guarantee that you walk through facilities in the summer or you just show up outside at a tunnel barn. You can see that one or two of the fans aren't working, and that will instantly create higher temperatures in your facility and reduce your performance. So make sure all your fans are working to move the maximum amount of air.
It's interesting to see when you go to, that seems like particularly nurseries. Older nurseries were not built like they are now. So you might be saying, hey, I need to have 45 CFM per pig air potential in a new nursery, but you might see an older nursery that's it's like 25. It's a fraction of what it is. They get super hot sometimes. And so it might even be worth looking at your fan setup working or not, just to say, how am I fanned? Do I need to add something here? Because this may not be sufficient.
And I've been in a number of nurseries where folks will have those fans spread out over a 15-degree spread. And one thing I would point out is the importance of a nursery really tightening down that spread. Different philosophies on what that differential or spread from the first fan on to the last fan on should be in a nursery, but I would definitely err on the side of well less than 10 degrees from the first fan to the last, if not almost half of that.
Yeah. What's the rule of thumb, the old Barry rule of thumb? For every 10 pounds of body weight, 1 degree spread, something like for every 10 CFM air movement should account for 1 degree set point change or a fan response change on that. So anyway, there's some formulas you could follow on that. Essentially, tighter in the summertime is better, though, as a rule of thumb.
For sure.
Whatever it is in the wintertime, tighten it up in the summer.
For sure.
Okay. Move the air. E,
emergency backups. So every barn has a different functionality of emergency backups. In this area in the southwest Minnesota, northwest Iowa region, a lot of folks have generators on site. So one, make sure your generator is functional. Make sure your generator has a operational transfer switch. Make sure that it has fuel inside and that it's being tested on a regular basis. Second, make sure you have those override thermostats inside your barn working. Very easy test. Just turn the dial all the way one way, turn it all the other way. If you don't hear a click, then you know that override thermostat is bad and needs to be replaced. It's a very easy fix, but if it's not working, that's going to result in some challenges.
Go over what the purpose of that is. Describe what it looks like, what the purpose is, and what would you have it set at in the summertime for a temp?
Certainly. Either a tunnel facility, or either a tunnel barn or a curtain barn and nurseries. Pretty much every single barn that we work with is going to have these emergency backup override thermostats. They're a small box, probably about 4 by 3, something like that. That are going to hang on a wall and usually specific for each room. There's going to be generally one connected to a heater, which is going to be set on the low side so that if the temperature gets below, for example, 50 degrees or 55 degrees, that heater is automatically going to kick on. If the controller had an issue, this is going to have its own thermostat to connect to the heater to turn on. And then you'll have usually at least one, sometimes 2 or 3 in some barns for some of the larger fans to kick on. At a minimum, there'll be one for the pit fans, maybe a 36 or a 54-inch fan as well, and you'll set those to a higher temperature, essentially, if the barn gets up to, in the summer, 85, 90 degrees, those fans should be running anyway, so you set them all at that higher level, and that way it ensures that if power goes out in the controller, if there's lightning, some sort of bad event, it will still always turn those fans on when the temperature inside the room reaches that threshold, so the pigs aren't going to have a challenge.
Yeah. So basically, if the controller fails, that still thinks for you and protects the pigs by ventilating.
Correct.
If everything's shut down, at least that fan will turn on and keep you from suffocating a group of pigs. And
then the other component of emergency backups, of which there are many scenarios out there, more common, I'd say, in Iowa, to have emergency curtain drops. And emergency curtain drops need to be tested and confirmed operational. I'd say whenever you're going to have someone walking through and walking around the outside of the barn, very important if that's going to be your backup.
I remember a long time ago, I was working in this, not here, somewhere else, and they had emergency curtain drops, and they were if the wind picked up too much, they would fall down. So the producers just started nailing them shut. I'm getting up in the middle of the night. I'm not liking this. That didn't help when actually there was an emergency. You didn't mention it, but separate alarm systems, like the Barn Tools one, where something like that, or there's different ways to do it. Many different systems are set there to detect if it gets too hot, if the power fails, if it's too cold. A lot of different ways you could alarm if the water cuts off. But if you have such a system, I would make sure that functions the way you want it to. You and I were both involved in a situation not too long ago where they had a system, but it was only set up for power failure. Mm-hmm. And when the power failed, the temperature got extremely hot, killed a bunch of pigs, but the system wasn't detecting the high temp. It was only detecting a power failure. And the power didn't fail. Mm-hmm. It just malfunctioned. Mm-hmm. So if you have a system like that, make sure it's actually going to protect you when it gets hot. Because if the system's still working but your probe wire goes bad, you'd still want the ability to call the producer and say, hey, it's hot in this barn. So if you've got a sophisticated system, make sure it's telling you what you want to learn.
Make sure your temp probes are working as well. And some barns will have only one temp probe in the whole facility, just because they had 3 originally and then one went bad and they take it out, and then another goes bad and they take it out. So they're basing it all off of one probe. Have a minimum of 2 probes. More the better. More the better.
Back to update your controller. Check if you've got 3 probes, check 1, 2, 3. Are they all giving a reading, or 2 of them are accurate and the third one is off, and it gets more off, it's going to pull the average way down.
Exactly.
Or up or whatever. It's going to screw you up.
Exactly.
Okay. Anything else on emergency equipment? Curtain drop, sophisticated systems being set right.
Make sure you got the right phone numbers set up in your alarm system too.
Yeah.
People come and go, and you want to make sure they're calling the right folks.
Okay. All right, R.
Last but not least, R, respond quickly. Because in heat, when you have challenges in a facility, it can become bad in a hurry. So when it comes to any of these things, we want to make sure we are going to be moving in a rapid manner.
Yeah. A producer around here one time was just checking to see how quickly a barn would heat up if you did have a power failure. How quickly would you have to respond in a tunnel barn? And it was within 12 minutes that the heat had gotten in summer weather we've had here. You would start losing pigs if you didn't respond within something in the range of 12 to 15 minutes. You were starting to get hot enough to lose pigs. You have almost no time. Wow. If the generator doesn't kick on, you better be out there fast to get things cranked open. I just remember being amazed, like 12, 15 minutes? Yeah, it got up to 100 degrees within that period of time.
Incredible how much heat these pigs make when they get big.
Okay. All right. Summer, stir fans, update controllers, misters, move air, emergency settings, respond fast.
You bet.
Anything else we need to cover?
One thing I think is important to cover is, can we just get an update on, how exactly we're doing here at the podcast? Are we like right below Joe Rogan? Are we going to come above Joe?
Hey,
or where are we sitting?
Our listenership is currently probably, it's above dozens. It's maybe in the low hundreds. This is one of those fancy podcasts. This is much more humble, basic.
When you're saying dozens, I assume you're saying dozens of millions. So
yes, dozens of millions.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Hey, but
second question. Just want to confirm here, Spencer.
Yes, it's true.
Your last name, Wayne. There's been some questions. There's some other folks who have a last name Wayne, and just looking for clarification. Can you just admit, are you or
I am Batman?
Are you not the Batman? Yes, just looking to confirm.
No, I'm obviously not Batman. But
that's what Batman says as well.
Yeah, well, I'm not Iron Man either. Any of those deniable superhero comments.
Do you, at the very least, have a sign outside your house that says Wayne Manor?
Yes. No, but my wife has pushed me on that a few times. We joke about it.
What is there to delay on this? I feel like this has to be happening yesterday.
I think it's maybe a little bit of just maybe taste.
Has anyone, when they need your help as a veterinarian, shown a light up in the sky that has a bat on it that you have responded to?
No, none of that's ever happened.
No, or not yet.
No,
just not yet.
No, but the closest
there could be the first.
No, none of this happening. The closest I've got is on my little icon guy on the HBO Max. I've got Batman on there for me. That's as close as I'm getting to any of this.
So you are Batman.
I'm not really Batman, but my great uncle was named John Wayne.
Let's just say agree to disagree.
Agree. Okay. Time will tell if I'm really actually Batman. But my great uncle John Wayne was named John Wayne, legitimately. And he went to the airport, and they paged him to the desk. And this is after the actor John Wayne had passed away. And he went up there to respond to it being paged up there. Everybody in the place just started freaking out looking for John Wayne. He's like, the guy's dead. He got that a lot as he went through life. More people know Bruce Wayne than John Wayne now.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Enjoyed having you here. It is worth commenting, though, Joseph. I think Katie said it, the higher ranking one, all-time leader from your last podcast.
Wow. Wow. Pretty big shoes to fill for the first appearance. Let's see if we can meet and beat that.
Yes. Well, we'll see. See how it goes. Acronyms seem to be the key, or maybe it's just you. I don't know, but we got summer.
As we know, Spencer's answers naturally trump all for Santa. So realistically, we'll see what happens if there's an appearance number 3.
All right, Joseph. Thanks for being the guest today. This was fun. Enjoyed it. Hopefully the listeners got something out of this. So thanks to Joseph, and thanks to our listeners. And join us next time.
Thank you, Batman.
I am Batman. The SwineTime Podcast was created for the pork industry and individual pork producers around the country. Hosted by me, Dr. Spencer Wayne with Pipestone Veterinary Services, the podcast contains pork industry news, advancements in animal care, and how to enhance your productivity. Find the SwineTime Podcast at www.pipestone.com or on your favorite listening platform.